Simone, please. I'm telling you, it was her, Trent begs. How the fuck is that possible? That woman was dead before I was out of diapers, Simone shouts, still pressing her weapon into the man's cranium. I don't fucking know. The Union lied, the sobbing man argues, and to his credit, Simone had little trouble believing that. But why? Why did she come back? Why did she murder my father? The redhead interrogates. I don't know, Trent spills out in a frustrated scream. Shaking her head, Simone dropped the man to the floor. As he attempts to turn and crawl away, she forcibly grabs his shoulder and holds him in place. She then kneels down, piercing him with an unblinking emerald gaze. Then tell me everything you do know. What happened? Wincing from the powerful grip on his collarbone, he frantically nods in surrender. Simone releases him and takes a few steps back to give the blubbering man the chance to talk. It takes him a few minutes to collect himself, enough to even begin. I was managing things as normal, nothing even remotely notable. Which was why when I saw that your dad was contacted because of his short staffing issues for a part of the mine that wasn't yet suitable for physical workers, I took notice. I looked up who was sending the request, and it was one of the few workers that actually couldn't make it in. I gave them a call to see if this was an error. They said they were at home, sick as a dog. So I'm thinking this is a whole system error, and tried to contact Robert to tell him that he doesn't need to come in. For some reason, couldn't get through. Between juggling explaining to our IT about the system going nuts and trying to nail someone down to track down Robert, it was a confused clusterfuck. IT telling me the system was fine, and Miners saying no one could find Robert. His suit tracker wasn't working. Turned out, after his body was recovered, it was just turned off. You saying he did it? Simone interjects. I'm saying he never checked in with me or anyone. I'd even say he avoided being seen. He knew who he was meeting with. I just don't think he was expecting the outcome. How do you know it was Ember? Simone presses the entailing on. Robert didn't know that although I couldn't activate his tracker remotely, his helmet cam was another story with my office console. Security reasons and such. When I pulled up the feed, her face was clear as day as he was fighting for his life. He lost and the feed cut out as the ceiling came down. Simone's rage spikes. And you just stood there and watched? Why wasn't security immediately called? She snaps, aiming the plasma colt at the man once more. Trent lifts his hands and curls up against the wall, even more than he already is. I didn't understand what the hell was happening. After all the chaos with the system and then suddenly seeing a dead person's mug made me hesitate. I regret that with all my heart, but I intended to, I swear. When I tried, security didn't answer, and the next thing I know, two weird-ass fucks dressed in black robes show up and... Trent's voice hollows out, not wanting to finish. And? Simone encourages, with a rotation of her weapon's barrel. They claimed to be Union officers and seized all the data. Told me if I ever uttered a word of it to anyone, they'd not only terminate me, but if word got out, they said that the Union wouldn't blink an eye if the colony were to experience a tragic catastrophe. Robert was a good man, and he nor I would put everyone at risk for his sake. I'm guessing they didn't just kill you then and there because they didn't want any eyebrows raising, right? Simone says. A strange tragic accident happens on the same day the foreman blew his own brains out? Yeah. They didn't want people snooping. Though I figured they'd off me eventually. Was pretty much convinced that's who you were when you walked in, Trent replies with a mangled, shaky smile. It's then the fire in the redhead's heart is all but extinguished. Sighing, Simone holsters her plasma colt and scoots up her helmet off the floor. Did the road fucks look like knockoff Sith Lords? She asked. I guess. I've never seen a Star Trek, the man admits. Well, now I want to shoot you for a totally different reason. If anyone asks why I was here, say that I was a debt collector from some real bad people you pissed off. Trent lowers his hands cautiously. So, you're letting me go? He asks to confirm. Yeah. Killing you is pointless, if not outright doing what they want. Plus I can see that you're already paying your own price. Simone responds as she raises the helmet over her head, granting the man one last look with her bare eyes. You've fallen low enough. I'd recommend you start climbing. She then locks her helmet back on and starts back towards the door. Wait, Simone, wait! Trent calls after, as he shakily gets himself up onto his feet. The armored Terran stops to listen. I'm sorry. For what little it's worth, I'm so sorry. I get why you stormed on in here, I do. Robert deserved better. I really wish that I would have done something, anything to save him, or bring him justice, he says genuinely. Congrats, you just did, Simone replies, before turning her head back, because someone is going to die for it. Before the man can speak up again, the armoured woman marches out through the barracks door without so much as a farewell to send off her aggressive visit. As she strides her way back to leave the mine, she feels her guts sway and head hollow out. Having to stop to take a moment to lean up against the wall, she holds back stress-inducing vomit from filling her helmet. In and out, The redhead feels visceral sick as a swelling cesspit of grief and hatred strikes her, harder than any expired meal rations ever could. Her arm temples, soon spreading throughout her entire body. Regardless of who might be watching, she wants to do nothing more than curl up into a ball. Is this another episode? It sure feels just as bad, but not quite in the same way as it usually does. This is a special kind of bad. A bad she doesn't know how to process or deal with. The Terran's mind is so out of place that when she catches sight of nearby security, she doesn't know if she wants to call out for help or pulverize their stupid gawking faces into minced meat. The rage within really wants to hurt something. Right now. Dust explodes forth from the wall she leaned on. Simone's fist leaves a spider-webbed crater as she pulls it free. She doesn't recall throwing the fist in the first place, which sobers her a tad enough to continue on, to find separation from herself and anyone else. She knew exactly where to go. Vin was surprised, but immediate in action, when a message came in from Simone. She describes that she is experiencing something akin to one of her panic attacks and requires assistance. She has apparently camped herself up somewhere for a while, and sent the directions for Vin to follow. Though he does have to stop and ask colonists for clarifying guidance. Yet he arrives in good time, finding himself standing out front of a Terran gym. It's small, quaint, and fairly busy, as Terrans operate the humble devices within. A few give him curious glances, but only one approaches, though this is expected. Dr. Vin, I presume? The middle-aged male Terran asks, knowing full well there isn't any other Noxie on the station, but makes a point to be polite. Indeed. You were told of my arrival then, Vin responds. Yep, the man confirms, before tilting his head to the back corner. Vin peeks around to see a framed memoriam for the previous owner of the establishment. It's a photo of a thickly built Terran man posing with a big open smile and two beefy thumbs up as if offering encouragement to everyone utilizing the facility. His features very much resemble Vin's very own patient in many ways. Sitting cross-legged on a foam mat in front of the memoriam is her in the flesh. Next to her is her power armor, stacked in an organized bundle. Despite her large frame, her slack shoulders make her appear incredibly vulnerable. I've instructed everyone to give her a bit of space, the man of authority claims. That is very much appreciated, thank you, Vin states, before making his way to Simone. Instead of saying anything, or tapping her shoulder, Vin sits himself down right next to the redhead, and joins her in looking up at the large photo. He reminds you of that one Terran mythological figure. What was his name? Mantisaurus? No, that's not it. The man who brought gifts to children. Gifts during Nurse winter holidays? The doctor comments, but much younger, of course. Vin sees a small smile break from Simone's face. He would have liked that comparison. He was larger than life, kinder than it too. Big old fucking dork, she says, before her smile fades. I just learned my mother murdered him, she added, giving the blunt context as to why this meeting was taking place. Vin tries to not look too taken aback by this information bomb. I'm sorry, he says, gently placing his mitten on the Terran's arm comfortingly. Whatever you feel like you need to say, I'm listening. My bitch of a mother is probably still alive, unless she was in one of those ships shot down on the Grat homeworld, but I don't think I'm going to be that lucky. And if she's so directly involved in all the bullshit we're being dragged into, I have a bad feeling, she says, eyes unremoved from the visage of her father. You fear that you may have to face her? Vin asks. Yeah, I am. I'm terrified, actually. I don't know what to expect, even with all the existential shit I'm now aware of. Somehow this is harder. Much harder, Simone admits. It's okay to be scared, especially in this situation. Do you feel like you need to enact revenge? Of course I do. My blood is boiling. I want to erase that bitch atom by atom, molecule by molecule, but... The redhead lifts her knees up to bury her face. But? Dad won't want me to do that. He'd want me to move on and live my life, but my life is tied to this. I can't just run away. I don't know what I'm going to do. Vin takes a moment to consider his next words carefully. If I may, I believe your father would want you to do what you think is best for you. Many times you have said that you do what you think he would want. However, perhaps he didn't want you to be like him, but be the best you. He did a miraculous job preparing you for the future, but it wasn't his future. It's yours. Your life. Your choices, he says, rubbing the Terran's shoulder. I know. I just don't want to disappoint him, even if he's not around anymore. I feel like I'm going to do just that. Ember deserves to be put down. She needs to be, Simone utters, as her fists clench tightly, holding back severe rage. Vin nods in understanding. She needs to face consequences and justice, of course. But I must warn you, following through with revenge only offers immediate gratification, which is fleeting. Do you want to end her life because you want to feel better? Be honest. Simone wants to answer in the most selfless manner possible, because she knows ending her mother will only be a net positive to the universe. But she knows her own heart, and what it's saying can't be more clear. Yeah. Boiled down? Yeah, she admits shamefully. It's perfectly normal to feel that way. You're not a monster, Simone. What you're feeling is a deeply personal need to right a wrong so that you don't have to experience all the hurting anymore. It's only nature to crave that, Vinna explains gently. Then what do? I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to hurt people. That's good. That's really good. I can't give a golden solution to this because I want to see horrible people no longer commit horrid acts. Your encounter with her may very well be inevitable, but you can prepare yourself to do what you have to. Know why you're doing it, and mentally reinforce yourself in the best way possible. Not how I would normally advise a patient, but these circumstances are what they are, Vin says earnestly, as he digs out a handkerchief for the woman. How? I want to kill her so fucking bad. I want to stop the life out of her. I want her to suffer for what she did. Perspective, Vin answers simply. She did you wrong in the worst of ways. Don't forgive her, and don't forget what she did. You need to find the strength to do what's best for you and everyone around you in a given situation. Don't create suffering out of pain, because no one can heal from that. Not you, not anyone. I ask that you try to learn to accept what happened, because for better or worse it did. Nothing you can do will undo it, or ever make what happened hurt any less. Your father was murdered, and you are allowed to feel and process from that. But when the time comes, it's your choice to act. Don't let it consume you, and compromise who you are and who you strive to be. Because in the end, it's our choices that shape us and leave the marks that influence the universe around us. Does that make sense to you? Vin says, before patting the Terran kindly. Simone removes her face from her knees and releases a half-interrupted sigh. It does, she confirms, as she takes the offered handkerchief to clean her face. You almost sound like him, you know. I wonder if he took some psychology courses at some point, she says, forcing out a small laugh. He will be incredibly proud of you, Simone. After everything you've done and been through, I have no doubt he will be giving you that exact same look, Vin responds, while pointing up at the image. The doctor scans it with his lens and sends a copy directly to the Terran next to him. She looks at it for only a moment, before she needs to use the handkerchief again. I promise I'm going to make things right. Somehow, she whispers softly, to the image, to Vin, to the universe, and to herself. Jack worriedly scratches the sides of her head as she sits next to Donna at a cafe? Place? It certainly sells drinks and small food items, but the only places to sit are the hallway benches. Simone being gone longer than expected, Donna was more than happy to give the Callie and Watafling a local tour while waiting for any update. Chuck isn't certain if she can safely eat anything the vendor sold, but grants herself a sweet carbonated beverage that lacked a significant amount of plant-based sugar. Apologies for making you miss your dinner with your family, she speaks up, feeling fairly guilty. Oh, it's fine. Really? Jackie will feed the girls and put them to sleep, then when I get back it'll be just the two of us, the woman reassures, waving her half-eaten nutrition bar dismissively. Callie wedding ceremonies sound particularly beautiful, by the way. Almost fairy tale-esque. Jack's eyes flash in surprise. Oh? You really think so? She asks. Absolutely. The part where you wade through waist-deep water illuminated by swelling blink bugs and crystals redirecting moonlight? Sounds like a page out of a magical world to me. I have a few ideas to replicate something like that, Donna says, still clearly mulling over possibilities in her head. Oh, I look forward to it, Chuck chirps appreciatively. So, how much of your family will be attending? I know the travel may be a bit far, but if we plan ahead, we can secure arrangements, Donna inquires, pulling up her planner from her lens. The Callie's red eyes fade a bit into grey, and she shrinks into herself a bit, not sure how to respond. Oh, what do you know about what's happening on the Callie homeworld? Donna raised a sharp eye tuft, concerned with the Callie's expression. The government was reformed after a coup, right? She responds carefully. Indeed. Unfortunately, most of my family didn't survive the conflict that arose, Chuck explains, not wanting to give the specific details of her royal origin. I'm afraid there may be a good chance that I will be the only Callie in attendance. Donna lowers her national bar, feeling guilty. I'm so sorry, is all that she can say. Don't be. There's no way you could have known. That's simply the reality of the situation, Chuck says with a small smile. Still, do you need a hug? The Terran offers with an extended arm. Chuck accepts it by leaning into the woman gratefully. The single arm squeezes a bit too tightly, but thankfully she had awareness of her own strength. After the comforting gesture comes to an end, the two share a sigh. "Thank you. You smell very nice, like flowers," Chuck says first with a bounce. The woman giggles before taking another bite from her bar. "The perfume's called Furs Fornicatresses, so you're definitely not wrong," Donna laughs. Chuck waits for the translation to kick in for one of the many spoken Terran languages. Her eyes flash brightly, and she joins in the laughter and sharp chirps. "Perhaps I should acquire some for Simone. I believe she may well like that," the Callie muses. "I'll take you right to the shop. How is she, by the way? I can't imagine hiding from the Union has been easy on her," Donna asks, clearly referring to the redhead. "Oh, well, it certainly hasn't been easy for her, and she isn't without daily struggles, especially with all the things she experienced in war. But she's come a long way, and I couldn't be more happy to have her in my life," Chuck answers honestly, though again withholding details. "She looks happy too. No doubt she is lucky to have someone like you as well. I mean, thinking that a tank like her falling for an adorable little lady like yourself is just the most wholesome thing I've ever seen." "Thank you," Chuck replies with blazing eyes, more than a bit embarrassed. She's become everything to me. She's my family." "That's so damn sweet. Ugh." Donna dramatically rolls her head back, almost sounding disgusted. "Which is why I'm fairly concerned for her right now. Would it be alright if I attempted to give her a call?" Chuck requested, not wanting to be rude. "Yeah, of course. I'm wondering where she went off to as well, though if I were to make a guess, I'd imagine she's at her dad's old gym. It's all still there, have a memorial for him and everything, so she may be taking her time," Donna rationalizes. "Oh, then perhaps I should give it the time she needs," Chuck says, now unsure. "How about you just shoot her a message, and I can take you that way?" Donna begins to offer, before she quickly accepts an incoming call. She rather sternly listens to the voice on the other end for what seems to be a significant duration. Her eyes refuse to even blink out of focus. Chuck waits patiently, not wanting to distract the woman from something so clearly important, though she begins to feel unsettled when the majority of tones around her also stop what they are doing to listen in. "Got it," Donna murmurs to herself, before ending the call and returning to the Callie with an apologetic smile. "Sorry about that. Since the Union left, we really have to pay attention to incoming alerts. If something goes wrong, we have to get scrambling like a kicked ant's nest." "Oh, I see. What was the alert, if I may ask?" Chuck replies, trying to not sound super nervous. "Dome A4 suffered a minor decompression. Thankfully, the automated system locked down the compromised section. No dead or injured, thank the stars." "Is that a normal occurrence?" Chuck inquires. "A bit. Not super normal, but sometimes something hits a dome in just the right spot at the right velocity. But our automated system is really good at reacting to those sorts of things. Repair crews are already on the way, no worries. Anyway, go ahead and send that message. I'll take you to that shop. We'll see about meeting back up with your wifey." "Oh, alright." "Thanks for coming," Simone says, as she walks with Vin back out of the gym. She turns around and gives the interior one last basking of comforting sight before the door seals shut. "Any and all time, Simone," Vin assures in a warm tone. Seeing the message pop up, Simone opens it to see it's from Chuck. Guilt strikes her as she suddenly realizes how long it has been since dumping her with people she hadn't seen in years. "Fuck, I'm the worst," the redhead thinks, as she slowly opens to see the text. "Hello, Simone. I hope everything is okay. Donna has been kind enough to show me an SJ around the local area while you were busy. She has taken me on a small shopping trip as well, but afterward we would very much like to meet up with you again. If that's okay, we can agree on a place when you're ready. I love you very much. Chuck." Simone shakes her head with a dumb little smile. She begins to type back before she's interrupted by another message. This time it's from the same unknown source that want her to not make a mess and to not blow up the mine. Flipping over to it without question, she feels her blood run cold. "Simone, as you may know, Dome A4 suffered a minor decompression. Repair crews on site have determined that someone physically cut through the paneling. Can't be sure, but the sheer coincidence says you may be involved. Security has been updated, but we can't guarantee your safety. But for the well-being of you and the colony, I recommend leaving ASAP. Teams have already started escorting your crew to your dock ship. We'll update as needed. Good luck." Without warning, Simone leans down and scoops up the doctor. "Sorry, emergency, we need to go," she notifies, before locking in her helmet. Knowing better than to question it, Finn just holds on tightly as the Terran rushes back through the enclosed corridors and open spaces towards the docking area. While on the move, Simone directly calls Chuck. "Oh, Simone, what's happening? Security just took me away from Donna and are telling me that I have to go back to our ship." "Something is going down, Chuck. Someone trespassed into the colony, and they are worried for our safety. Let them take you. You can trust them," Simone reassures, as calmly as she can manage. "Alright, okay. I will check in with everyone else and make sure they are all accounted for." "Good idea. Vin is currently with me. I should be at the dock in just a few minutes." Alright, we're already fairly close. Ah! The Calais sudden scream is soon accompanied by erupting gunfire. Gunfire that would never be used in this sort of environment unless absolutely necessary. Simone slows her tracks to hear if the gunfire is nearby to her location. Chuck, what's happening? Where are you? She asks in panic. Through the call, the redhead can hear Terrence shouting and directing the Calais to run. Chuck? The line goes dead. The princess scrambles in fear as the security Terrence fend off the incoming hostile. It came out of nowhere. One moment she was about to call 7 after Simone, and the next she's fleeing from chaos. Thankfully she knew where to go, as it wasn't far. Down the hallway she ran through 2 sets of double-seating doors and into the comparatively vastly open space of the docking bay. Unfortunately, the ship couldn't have been far further away, but there's relief seeing a team of Terrans having already secured the outside of the vessel. Though the looks on their faces at what is currently giving chase to the Calais does not inspire confidence. Raising their rifles, they shout for the Calais to get down, to which she complies blindly, holding SJ protectively in a cage of her arm limbs. But as she falls forward towards the floor, a force grabs her and pulls her right back up. Harshly. In a near-crushing grip that cuts off her air intake, Chuck is pulled against the aggressor. Having somehow not only defeating a team of armed Terrans so quickly, but has caught up to the sprinting Calais with ease. Feeling as though she could be snapped in half for the slightest of squeezes if the aggressor deems so. Now uses a meat shield, the aiming Terrans look uncertain of how to proceed, as the figure slowly begins to back away to take the Calais to who knows where. Chuck wants to know why, though she has a very confident guess. A bounty hunter has finally caught up to her. She wishes to speak, but she lacks the yet to do so. Her vision is starting to fade along with sounds. The reality of what she feared for the longest time has finally come to pass. Her father claims yet another precious victory. The world suddenly spins violently, and a sharp cracking pain shoots through Chuck's upper shoulder. She cries out in pain, but at least finds air returning to her once more. Disorientated, she rolls onto her back and glasses up while panting. Her chest cavity aches, but doesn't feel broken. SJ in her arms hisses fearfully, thankfully dense enough to not have been crushed. In fact, the child Deathworlder may have been the key support that kept the Calais' torso from internally shattering. Above her, in a protected pose, stood a Terran clad in her gleaming armor. Chuck's fair knight comes to her rescue once again, like she always does. Simone watches as the figure in black rose flies back after being punched into next week. In mid-air, they twist at an unnatural angle in order to clasp metallic digits into the floor, sending a trail of sparks before coming to a stop. Wordlessly, it slowly stands. Its face is hidden in an unusually pitch-black hood, but the redhead felt the stabbing gaze all the same. Chuck, can you move? Simone asks, not taking her eyes off the would-be assassin. Still panting, Chuck squeals in pain as her shoulder proves to have sustained a considerable injury, but she still manages to get up on her hooves. SJ scampers up and hugs around her upper arm. Yes, she informs. Hide to the ship, Simone orders. Right, Chuck agrees, before running towards the friendly Terrans. The figure doesn't so much as give the fleeing Calais a chance. The seemingly feminine-shaped Terran-looking individual instead rushed in on new prey. In a quick draw, Simone opens fire with a plasma colt. However, as the blast near their target, a flash of glimmering red disperses the incoming projectiles in blinding speed. Seeing where this is going, Simone bursts forward to close the distance and buy a space for the others present. Right before the two clash, Simone chiefly cranks her power armor to its max as she throws an elbow. Screaming, she feels her arm once more nearly get ripped from its socket from the momentum alone. Her opponent expertly deflects the powerful blow with their own arm, then spun to hammer their own strike into the side of Simone's helmet. The surprising force nearly throws the redhead off her feet, but she recovers her stance just in time to catch a sweeping psychic and counter with a straight-up gauntleted fist. This time she strikes true at the collarbone, forcing the figure to flail back. But Simone isn't done with her yet. Oh fuck no. Still hanging onto the leg, Simone uses the flail to lift the figure into the air, over her head, and smash him down into the solid floor that's dense enough to support star vessels. The figure sprawls from the intense impact, but isn't given the time to catch up as the protector comes up and curb stomps down on the exposed neck. Despite the incredible force behind the blow, the individual doesn't seem to be fatally affected. So Simone goes in once more for another stomp, which misses as the figure maneuvers with the agility of a cat, rolling free with impressive force. Like a professional dancer, the attacker bounds up to their feet, leaps and casts down a leg in a downward swipe. Following is the other leg striking with an uppercut, striking the redhead back. To her frustration, her visual field is obscured by dense webbing cracks. She realizes this was the figure's plan, to get her to remove her helmet or be blinded. Time for a compromise. Using her lens's interface, she orders the armor system to eject the damaged visor. Still a vulnerability, but is a hell of a lot better than tossing the helmet, and at least she can see again. The figure assumed a combative stance, the robes snapping in the air from the sheer power behind their movements. though the impact Simone is making clearly left much more damage than what her own armor endured. Assuming her own stance, Simone figures she can at the very least outlast this bitch blow for blow. Their own fancy dark armor clearly gave them a mobility advantage at the cost of integrity, though the stomping at the neck proves their vital areas are still heavily armored. At least Simone has someone to take out all of her fury on. Whoever this is, they are involved in some way with her mother. They will live long enough to regret it. Making the first move, Simone thrusts a fist. It's deflected, but they aren't fast enough for Simone's follow-up. Landing within the hood, the redhead hears the cracking of glass-like material. Though she quickly forgets this, as the figure takes a hold of her arm and cracks Simone's elbow joint over their shoulder. Then, like an acrobat, twirls up, using their own powerful momentum to twist like a crocodile's death roll. Straining in immense pain, Simone resists and tries to draw and fire her Colt point blank. One moment it's in her hand, the next a precise foot kicks it out of her grasp. Continuing the pressure, Simone can feel her arm losing to keep her arm intact, so she right kicks as hard as she can at max output, tearing the figure free and sending them a good 15 feet across the ground. Clutching her internally pulsing arm close, the redhead watches as the attacker takes a bit longer to get up onto their feet. Ha! This all you got, bitch? Simone says with gritted teeth. The figure shudders as if genuinely aggravated. Taking hold of their robes, they tear and cast it free like a dramatic theatre kit, revealing a sparking dented chest, thin metallic arms that in no way has Terran flesh within them. Their head is a smooth pitch black gloss with a severe indent, which exposes a single exposed Terran eye. It burns with absolute hatred and damn near animalistic fury. Then with a cracking snap of their arms, red ejected liquid explodes into uniform crystalline blades. Fuck, Simone mumbled, before casting out her own orange wrist variants. They are far less impressive, but they gotta do. Before she can ask for assistance from the other security present, the attacker dashes up swinging. It takes all of Simone's concentration to remain on the defensive, as crystal blades clash over and over. Shards explode like shrapnel before the blades refresh. Using one arm to defend her head, the redhead utilized the other to block lower blows. However, she has no opportunity to commit an offensive attack. Her opponent is faster, and just needs a single opening to end this fight. A slash embeds itself into Simone's pauldron, sending microflakes of heated crystal up at her unprotected eyes. In reaction, she flinches back, and is milliseconds from death as the blade is sent right to her gut. But before she feels the pain of intestines being ruptured, a sonic blast strikes her opponent's back. Not questioning the assistance, Simone takes the advantage and presses on her own attack. One arm, severed with a cross chop, the other removed in a following cut. Then with a final thrust forward, an entire crystal blade sinks into the torso. Then deactivating her blades, Simone rails into the figure's face over and over with rapid punches. Again and again, until she is on top of the opponent on the floor, shattering the faceplate, little by little. The ancient Callie at the top of the ship's entry ramp lowers her pulse rifle, shocked that she managed to make such a shot. Relentless, a dead-set Simone pulverizes the face, mind sinking into a red rage as more and more faceplate deteriorates from the onslaught. Once exposed enough, she reels back for a maximum output strike to blow clean through the skull and brain matter. But she freezes. Now staring down at the now long unconscious bruised face of this apparent cyborg. Sam?